Lainey, and welcome to Book in My Hand. Each month in this series, I share a special book with you, one that I physically own and have right here in my hands. Now, if you know me, you know that I am a huge audiobook person. So when I actually have a physical copy of a book, there's usually a meaningful reason behind it. It might be because I personally know the author and I'm trying to support them, or because the book holds a special place in my heart. So let's dive into today's featured book. Are you ready? All right, this is There's a Boy in the Girl's Bathroom by LOUIS SACHAR. This is another author that probably doesn't need my support, but for the series, I am going through my bookshelf and looking at what are the books that I physically own. And of all the books I've had in my life, why are these the ones that are on my shelf? And this is a book that I've probably loved since I found it. I actually have several other LOUIS SACHAR books on my shelf from the Wayside School series. If you guys have read that, they're so fun. I'm gonna start reading those again at some point. But I reread this one recently. So in full disclosure, I read it in audiobook because I found it in audiobook and that was helpful. And it was one of the most fun things that I have done as a reading adult. And one of the reasons why I enjoyed it so much, and specifically kind of going through it in audiobook, is because I realized that I read this book so many times as a child that every word came out in the audiobook reading, which LOUIS did himself. It all came flooding back. Every word was so familiar, and it gave me such tickles to be listening and experiencing the story again. So, side note, go find your childhood favorite books because it's a blast. So, why do I still have this book? It's not because there is an audiobook and I can actually read it again. It's because this story is so much fun. The characters have such life, and I won't give away the story, but it's so much fun because it's like pre-cell phones and it's so innocent and it's so fun, and the creativity of how the story rolls out. Carla, the counselor, is just a delight. And some of the phrases, they just tickle me. And shout out to LOUIS for doing the narration in the audiobook and keeping things alive in his little world and continuing to put stories out there. He just put out a book not too long ago for adults. I'll put what it's called in the comments. I can't remember what it's called right now, but it was really fun. That's not what today is about. But he's still going, he's still telling stories, and they're still really, really fun. So that's what I have for today. Thanks so much for joining me in this episode of Book in My Hand. I'll see you next time.